Last night I saw a spectacular indie film that I cannot wait to share with you. I got to meet the director and some of the actors and hang with some great horror friends, and absolutely none of that bore any weight on how much I love this film. I'm going to talk about all that and more, but first, turn out the lights, find a safe hiding space, and fall in to haunting season. All right, look, 2025 is going to be hard. It's already hard, and we're going to need distractions that bring us a little bit of joy in these dark times. It's important that we feel joy. It's an act of rebellion, but it's also an act of self-care, and I'm really excited to share with you a joyful horror that's going to have you giggling and squirming and screaming and laughing all at the same time. It's a little indie flick called Heart Eyes, and I absolutely loved it. Here's my non-spoiler review. The Heart Eyes killer comes out every Valentine's Day in a new city and hacks and slashes loving couples. And this year, it's happening in Seattle. The problem is, he's fixated on a will they won't they situation between a woman who's about to lose her job and a handsome stranger who she's reluctant to give in to. So in fact, they are not a couple. So mind your beeswax, HEK. This movie is a love letter to slasher films with a brutal cold open that sets the tone both for the gore and for the comedy. It's got a great, surprising, and original kill at the top, and it just keeps going. It gets you pumped up for the movie, and it feels kind of like a Valentine's Day love note to the cold opens of the Scream movies. On the other side of this two-faced monster of a movie is a really nicely done rom-com that leans heavily into the romantic tropes of previous films like Notting Hill, Love Actually, and a lot of other 90s romantic classics. It's gushy and cheesy and warm and sweet, which ends up feeling a little bit like those twin snake gummies where one side is sweet and one side is sour, and you don't really know if they're going to quite go together at first, but then you try one and you're like, is this the best candy of all time? This movie is the latest from comedic genius Josh Ruben, who you may know as the director of Werewolves Within, one of my favorites, and as an actor on The Creep Tapes and Game Changer, or you might know him from TikTok as a silly creator who does impressions.
So, you want to have a coffee after 2 p.m.? Well, in that case, I hope you are prepared. I hope you are ready for your tum-tum to do dances you never thought possible.
This is his first wide-release movie, and as an indie film, you know I had to go out and support it. I saw an early screening with some wonderful people, and we all laughed and screamed throughout the entire thing. We had heart eyes, glasses, we had a red carpet, there was a photo booth. They introduced the film at the beginning, we met some of the actors afterwards, and then there was an after party. It was such a great night. But again, none of that weighed in on how much I loved this movie. I actually was kind of in a bad mood going to this because of how much traffic there was getting there. It took us like 90 minutes and 2 wrong turns to get there. And I was really not in the mood to watch a movie by the time I got there. And I ended up just loving every second of it. Josh's sense of humor is stitched throughout this entire film with hokey tropes that poke fun at slashers and rom-coms while also being a great slasher and a great rom-com at the same time. The acting is solid across the board with Olivia Holt, Mason Gooding, Gigi Zimbardo, Devin Sawa and Jordan Brewster play a police duo in this, and yes, there is a Fast and the Furious joke to be made. And it is made. Side note, Josh introduced me to Gigi and Olivia at the screening, and they were just so nice and genuinely excited for people to see this film. They, like Josh Ruben, seem to be absolutely lovable goofballs who really care about making good, fun movies. And it shows in every second on the big screen. Speaking of the theater, I also gotta say the sound design in this is absolutely immaculate. First of all, the score is hilarious and really helps the scenes lean into subtle mocking tones of the genre switching, harkening back to iconic moments in films like Scream and Love Actually. It holds so much weight in the film, much like the score of Cabin in the Woods, which is one of the only times I really felt that a score captured accurately the director's sense of humor while still serving the story completely all the way through. But also in the sound design are all of these little hidden moments of humor, from off-screen one-liners to sound effects and mutterings. And again, without spoiling anything, there's a conversation that happens where something else is happening in the background, and that is like the best scene in the movie for me. And it's all because there's this really subtle, quiet nuance to the way it was designed and directed, and that just takes you from your average comedy where people tend to lean into talking really, really loud and exaggerated and the comedic notes beating you over the head. Instead, this just allows the audience to be smart and get it on their own. This is intelligent filmmaking that I have so much respect for. But again, this is also a great reason to go see this on the big screen in a real theater, because all of those subtleties will be projected at the right levels to truly enjoy this movie at its fullest. It's hard to say too much more without spoiling anything. I mean, honestly, I have so many good things to say about this film, and I can't wait to talk about it on a deeper level. And it's not because I got to have a good fun night out. This is truly a wonderful film that I think most people are going to really enjoy. But in the spirit of being a little bit more well-rounded, here's where I think people will realistically end up wanting more. Like most horror comedies, the big finale feels a tad bit standard. A lot of movies are written with the same formula, and it's because that formula works. And the more you get into studying film, and specifically film writing, you find that even if you can't predict who is behind the mask of the killer, you can predict where and how and when they will be revealed and overcome. So this is true of this film as well, and to be honest, sometimes that really bothers me, and sometimes it really works for me. I was left somewhere in between with this one, because on one hand, this movie is a spoof of two genres, and of course a spoof slasher would end with a similarly familiar finale, and on the other hand, the rest of it was so creative that I kind of wanted the surprise to be a little bit bigger and for them to take a bigger risk at the end. That being said, the violence and the gore throughout this movie, including the finale, never stopped serving. It was creative, disgusting, and everything you want as a horror fan. So it's hard for me to truly take points off for the finale. The truth is, I really enjoyed this movie all the way through, and as a fan of indie films that make it into Hollywood with a wide release in theaters, it's hard for me to find anything to hate on. I just had so much fun. I mentioned at the beginning of the film, Josh Ruben came out with Olivia Holt and Gigi Zimbardo, and they did this little shtick.
There has been like a lot of debate about whether this movie is like scary or romantic, and I don't know what you guys think. We're just gonna we're just gonna say what we think. I think, look, on the count of three, we're just gonna say
on the count of three.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Romantic. Okay, but okay, maybe we should try that again. Okay, on the count of three, say like.
No, I know.
Scary.
You got it. Right.
1, 2, 3.
Romantic.
Okay, scary. Well, you guys can decide for yourselves. Thank you so much. Enjoy.
And the truth is, this is truly both. Hard Eyes is a great date movie, it's a great comedy, it's also a great horror movie. You'll find yourself forgetting each of these things throughout the film as it fully leans into each of these three tropes, and that's what makes it such a fun ride. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you want more movie reviews like this one. Leave me comments and let me know what else you want to see from me, and please keep coming back for more spooky adventures, because we're more likely to survive if we stick together.